I am actually in the process, my laptop's right here, of looking up the specs on this knife. So, what are we gonna look at today? We're gonna look at the Yojimbo XL, which a lot of people call the Yojumbo. So this is the Spyderco knives. Unusual, out of character on my channel, but there's things I like about this knife. There's things I really like about this knife. But in general, there's a lot of things I don't. So we'll go ahead and we'll tear into that here in just a second. If you're happy watching on headphones, turn down the volume because here comes the music. As I said, we are going to look at the Yojumbo, which is basically just the Yojimbo XL. It's basically the same knife, just scaled up. You know, kind of like how Cold Steel did that for a while, or still does. They have multiple knives in different sizes. So I have a love-hate relationship with the Yojimbo and the Yojumbo. I definitely like this less than the Yojimbo. So without any further ado, not going too much into it, we're going to take a good close look at it, top down, so that you guys can see it. The lighting is just about perfect for that right now. So let's go ahead and crack into this. We'll meet you down there on the counter. All right, guys. So now you know that at one point I owned a Yojimbo 2. I did a video about it, and I did like the knife, but it just was not a knife for me to keep. I like elements of it. So let's take a good look at it. Like I said, this is the Spyderco Yojumbo. It is in CPM S30V. Golden, Colorado, USA. And as you can see right here, the designer was Michael Janik. I can't ever pronounce his name. So it's basically the same knife that they made in the Yojimbo, only scaled up. So let's go ahead and talk about some specs on this knife. What are you looking at? This is not a little knife, guys. This is a knife you better be ready to give up some pocket space. It can be uncomfortable to carry when you sit because of the size. So what are you looking at? Overall length of 9.26 inches. It's probably one of the longest and largest folding knives we've had on the channel. Blade length is 4 inches even. Blade thickness is 0.15 inches. Like I said, CPM S30V, not my favorite steel. It's done in a hollow grind. It's not a horrible steel. I just don't like it because it has a tendency to chip. It is done in a hollow grind, and I mean a very deep hollow grind. It is a very aggressive hollow. It comes down really thin. Weight on this, 5.1 ounces. So let's get the scale out and we'll verify that. All right, let's do this here. So they say it's supposed to come in at 5.1 ounces, 5 1/4. That's within the realm. Let's look at it in grams. For those of you that don't use freedom units, we are looking at 150 grams. Now, I did get a couple of comparisons to compare so that you guys know. So the Yojimbo 1 and 2 came in at 7.5 inches. This comes in at 9.26 inches. The blade length on the Yojimbo is 3.15. This is 4. And the blade thickness on the Yojimbo is actually thicker. And here's one that is a little bit weird to me. And it has to be for popularity purposes or reasons. The Yojimbo comes in at $189 on Blade HQ. This comes in at $164. Now, I did not look at the MSRP on the Yojimbo, but the Yojumbo's MSRP is $235. This is not a cheap knife. And I do have to say that as far as Spydercos go, this one is pretty well done. So now, what are my issues with this knife? It's really blocky and square. There's not a lot of chamfering. The G10 on this is really aggressive. Now, the fact is, Michael Janik, Mike is a knife fighter. He trains for knife fighting. These things that are done on this knife are not done in a fashion that it was meant for EDC use. And you can tell by how thin this tip comes up. And as you can see, it's already damaged. These knives, most of the ones I've ever seen, are missing the majority of the tip. You can tell they've been retipped. Somebody sharpened them down. The other things that I don't like, specifically, this is a Spyderco thing, the termination point for the sharpening, that's just ridiculous. I don't like that at all. It could have easily had a sharpening choil or notch put in. And a lot of times, let's see if we can see it on this, is this one. Yeah, the plunge is inconsistent and uneven. It definitely was ground more on the show scale than the lock scale, which not such a huge deal for the primary grind, but it does wind up affecting the edge angle and things like that. And with it being already canted over a little bit and then you put an edge on it, even if the edge is fairly straight, this is going to it's going to cut more one direction. You get that with chisel ground knives too, where it's going to favor one side and so it will drift when cutting. Finish on this knife, really well done. I do like that incredibly aggressive hollow look because you get a really interesting transition. I mean, you can just see it where it just drops off and then is hollowed out. It's going to give it a lot of cutting potential, but like I said, once it's that thin, you lose the tip. Another thing I don't like about this knife in particular is this grip feels strange. I want to get all the way up in it. I think in the yojumbo, if I remember right, when I had the yojimbo versus the yojumbo, it fit just about perfect in my hands. This feels as though when I get it comfortable, I feel as I'm not as far forward as I should be. And so my grip it's weird. It feels crowded on a large knife like this. To be crowded when you have that much room. It's not that you're crowded. I just can't find a spot where, like, when I get it where I want it, where it's comfortable in hand forward in use, then my finger is directly on that high spot. And I don't like it. It's uncomfortable. It drops down in that groove. Like I said, this is not an everyday carry knife, in my opinion. The other thing I really don't like is all these edges wind up being really sharp, which is, these ones are kind of chamfered, but like this edge here, that's not such a big deal. But for goodness sake, guys, like, you just drilled a hole. You didn't do anything to soften that edge. And it's horrible. It's horribly sharp. And if you don't have tough thumbs, there's a chance that that's going to cause some irritation. I have really callous thumbs. You can tell by looking at my hands. People pick on me and they're like, man, your hands always look grubby. I'm a knife maker, so that's not going to bother me. I can definitely feel that is sharp. So for a lot of people, if you're like an office worker or something like that, maybe you don't have calloused hands, that could be an issue. You can see it's taking skin off of my thumb. So, I mean, this is not a daily carry, everyday use knife. They have another knife that's like that comes with a warning. This is not an EDC knife. That it would be the civilian. But what we're gonna do right now, before I forget, is we're gonna get a size comparison, because like I said, this is one of the largest knives I've had on the channel. So normally knives either come in under the size of this or about even. Guys, this is a monster of a knife. Look at that. That is a Sebenza 21, and that's closed. It's even more evident and apparent when it's open. Look at the size of that knife in comparison to a Sebenza 21. It is massive. This is a massive, massive knife. As a matter of fact, with the Spyderco, or with these lined exactly up, this knife ends right here at that point, and then you still have got, oh, what, an inch of blade left? Large knife. So another issue with that, this might not be something you're able to carry in your municipalities. California has really not got much in weight in size limits, blade length limits, but there are municipalities and areas like cities that will tell you what size knife you can carry. I believe San Francisco, the max blade length is 3 inches. I do have to say they did a really good job sticking with the contours, but the blade to handle ratio is not as great as it could be. This knife could have lent itself to being almost a 1-to-1. I did a video a little bit ago, a while ago, not long ago, I should say, of the Kaiser Sheepdog. And it had a much better blade to handle ratio on this. And it's a unique, interesting, attractive knife, but just not something that I would be able to carry. Not the Yojumbo. Yojumbo, I could probably see me carrying it. So with all that being said, we did some size comparisons. Let's go ahead and flip this around, do some final thoughts on this knife right here. So I do have to say, on this knife, I am not seeing a lot of the real glaring typical Spyderco issues that I see. This is one of their flagship models, though. The Yojimbo has been a really popular design. I think that this specific knife, the Yojumbo, I think this fits into kind of a niche market. This is not a knife for most people. I'm a big guy, and that's just too big of a knife. And I think what the Yojimbo had in bringing it up to an XL size is kind of lost in this. It's not as comfortable. It's not as easy to use. It does not fit my hands the way that the Yojimbo did. The Yojimbo was a really good knife. If you were going to carry a self-defense knife, it would be one that would work really well in that capacity. This one, like I said, I think this was that novelty thing. They tried something with an XL version and it just didn't pay off. That's why you see these being cheaper than the regular Yojimbos. I do have to say, though, I like the compression lock. Compression lock, I didn't say it when we did it from top down. Compression lock, in my opinion, is a really good lock. I do like it because not only is it really, really robust, it gets you away from the blade, the path of that blade. And a lot of these Spydercos, once they break in with the compression lock, are drop shut, like guillotine drop shut. And so it gives you a lock where you can open it. You can open it easily like a regular knife, and then you have, it's kind of like the best of both worlds. It's like having a lock back where your hands are out and free, but with the feel and ease of use of a liner lock or a frame lock. So, there are some good points, but like I said, all in all, I think this knife was designed for kind of a niche market. This is one of the Spydercos that I would say is almost Mall Ninja-esque. They have a big fixed blade that I still have never gotten to get in on the channel. I've handled it. It's called the Warrior or something like that. Another knife that I think fits a niche market, and they kind of capitalized on that. It's just, as far as use, this is a pretty one-dimensional knife. This is a self-defense tool, and to try and use it in a capacity, that'd be like using the Civilian or the Matriarch 2 in a EDC role. I don't think it fits that role. They were meant, those knives, including this one, those three knives are self-defense tools. Would they work well as that? Yes. If you've had training, this knife would be a great knife for self-defense. As far as like a daily EDC tasks, I don't see it being real robust. Like I said, super deep hollow, really aggressive tip. I don't think that it would hold up to the rigors of the things that I do with a knife. I think I would break that knife off. So, like I said, is it horrible? No. This is one of those Spydercos that have come in, and like I said, that's sharp enough it took a fingernail off. This is one of those Spydercos that have come in that is actually done well, and I can appreciate that because, like I always say, I do like Spyderco. I used to love Spyderco. I've had a ton of them. I just can't justify the price. I still don't think this is a $150 knife. I really don't. I would be much more inclined to pay $164 for this knife if it fit my hand better. The Yojimbo, is it $150, $160, $180 knife? If they're constructed well, yeah, they are. And that's one of the exceptions to rules. This knife, I'm not feeling the glaring issues that I do with a lot of the other Spydercos. I even don't dislike the pocket clips. Spyderco's pocket clips historically have been pretty good. So, all in all, guys, not a horrible knife, just not something that I would spend that kind of money on. It's too big, it's too bulky, it's awkward. So, guys, I'm going to put some stuff in the corners. Lindy Lou has a new channel. I've been linking her in some of my videos. She needs more subscribers. If you could just go down to let's see, normally it would be this corner, I believe. This corner, I believe, is where Lindy's video link will be. You can go visit her channel. If you like the content, give her a like and a subscribe. And like I said, guys, if you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down. If you really like them, there's an applause button you can use. And if you really want to support the channel, you can always do the membership and use the link below and join the channel as a member. So with that being said, guys, I love you all. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.